Man, let me tell you something. The first time somebody told me, Steve, Islam ain't just a religion, it's a whole way of life, I thought they were just trying to sound deep. You know how people do throw some dramatic line out there like they just unlocked the universe? But the more I started learning, the more I realized, hold up, this ain't no slogan. They really mean that thing. Because most people, especially in the West, when they hear the word religion, they think of something you do on Sunday morning. Maybe say a prayer over your food, dress up for the holiday season, post a Bible verse when you feel guilty, and then go right back to doing whatever you do. Religion is like a little add-on feature to the life you already planned. But Islam don't play that. Islam comes in the room like, no, sir, we not just your Sunday activity. We your morning routine, your money habits, your food, your marriage, your business deal, your bathroom manners, your emotions, your ego, your purpose, and what you think about when you lying in bed at 2 a.m. wondering what life is about. And that was the first shock for me, because I said, wait, y'all got rules for everything? And I don't mean rules like don't do this, don't do that. I'm talking about a whole blueprint for how to live with dignity, how to eat with respect, how to talk without lying, how to treat old people, how to calm down when you're angry, how to raise kids that ain't going to turn into little monsters, how to make money without selling your soul, how to stay clean, how to sleep, how to wake up, how to be a boss without becoming a tyrant. I mean, everything. I was sitting there like, look, I thought religion was about worshiping God, not what brand of character you're supposed to have on Tuesday afternoon. But see, that's the thing. Islam don't separate worship from life. In Islam, the way you treat your wife is worship. The way you handle your money is worship. The way you talk to the waiter is worship. The way you run your business, whether you cheat somebody or not, is worship. So suddenly I'm sitting there thinking, man, this ain't pray on time and then go wild. This is 24/7 accountability. And that hit me like a brick, because we live in a world where everybody's trying to be spiritual without being responsible, trying to believe in God without letting God tell them how to live. But Islam comes in like, if you're going to claim you believe in the Creator, you better live like He watching, not just on Friday, all week. I remember the moment it really clicked for me. Somebody showed me something from the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, where he said, the best of you are those with the best character. And I'm like, hold up, that's the religion? Not the one who worships the longest, not the one who recites the most, not the one who looks holy, but the one who got the best character, the one who can control his tongue, treat people right, keep his promises, stay humble even when he's winning. That's when I knew, okay, this ain't just a belief system. This is a refinement system. This ain't something you visit, it's something you become. And that's when it hit me. Maybe the reason people misunderstand Islam so bad is because they only see the label, not the lifestyle. They see Muslims praying, but they don't know that prayer was designed to discipline the soul. They see the food restrictions, but they don't know it's training you to say no to your desires when your desires want to run your life. They hear about modesty in dress, but they don't know it's really modesty of the heart, protecting people from being treated like objects instead of human beings. Every rule I used to think was just religious behavior turned out to be mental, emotional, spiritual training. Like Islam ain't trying to make you obedient, it's trying to make you whole. And that right there is what nobody ever told me when I was growing up in West Virginia, sitting in the back of the church cracking jokes. And the more I dug into it, the more I realized something else. Islam don't just deal with your spiritual life, it comes for your real life. Like we live in a world where people got religion, but they still stressed out, still lost, still broke in the head, still confused about right and wrong, still arguing about who they are, still waking up with that empty feeling like something missing. Because most religions today are like an app on your phone. You open it when you need comfort, close it when you don't. But Islam is the operating system. It's not an app you install. It's the device you live in. It ain't just about believing in God. It's about organizing your whole life around that belief so it actually changes you. Because what good is faith if it doesn't fix your temper? What good is prayer if you're still lying, still cheating, still arrogant, still rude to people, still treating life like it's a game where you're the only player that matters? And I noticed something wild. In Islam, nothing is just personal. Your money ain't just personal. You got to give some to the poor. Your time ain't just personal. You got to use it right because you're going to be asked how you spend it. Your family ain't just personal. You got to honor them, raise your kids right, take care of your parents when they old. Even your body ain't just personal. God gave it to you, so you ain't supposed to abuse it with drugs, with alcohol, with fake lifestyles that destroy your peace. Everything is connected. Everything is accountable. And I ain't gonna lie, at first that sounded intense. I said, hold up now. Y'all got rules for diet, rules for business contracts, rules for marriage, rules for how to end a marriage, rules for inheritance, rules for trade, rules for speech, rules for hygiene, rules for hospitality, rules for war, rules for making peace. Y'all got rules for using the bathroom. I thought it was overkill. But then something hit me. Every time humans try to live without rules, they break themselves. When money ain't guided, you get corruption. When marriage ain't guided, you get cheating and broken homes. When desires ain't guided, you get addiction. When power ain't guided, you get oppression. When the ego ain't guided, you get arrogance. And all of a sudden, I'm sitting there like, wait a minute. Maybe the rules weren't changed. Maybe they were guardrails. And the craziest part, the more I read, the more I saw that Islam didn't come to control people. It came to protect them. Protect the poor from the rich. Protect women from being used and discarded. Protect children from growing up without fathers. Protect the society from scammers. Protect the heart from envy, jealousy, greed. Protect the soul from thinking it don't need God. So now I'm realizing this ain't a religion built around fear. This is a religion built around prevention. It don't wait for you to crash your life and then say, come pray about it. It builds a life where you don't have to crash in the first place. And that right there, that's different, because we don't live in a world that prevents pain. We live in a world that treats pain after it already happened. We don't fix broken families, we normalize them. We don't stop men from disrespecting women. We just write hashtags after the damage is done. We don't teach people how to love, how to lead, how to stay loyal. We teach them how to get famous, get followers, get attention, get paid. So when somebody says Islam is a complete way of life, that don't just mean it's strict. That means it's structured. Like if life is a storm, Islam is the shelter and the map. And I sat there like, man, if I had known this 20 years ago, maybe half the mistakes I made wouldn't even exist. And it started getting real when I learned something Muslims say all the time. Islam came to take human beings from darkness into light. And I had to stop and ask myself, what's my darkness? The anger, the ego, the regrets, the things I chase that don't make me happy, the parts of me that look successful on TV but still feel empty when the lights cut off. Because if a way of life can fix that, then that ain't just religion. That's salvation, and not the type where you shout amen and go home unchanged, but the kind that rebuilds you from the inside out. But here's the part that really flipped my whole mindset. When I realized Islam don't just teach what to do, it teaches why. See, a lot of people think religion is just a list of rules floating in the air with no explanation. Just do it because God said so. But every time I looked deeper into Islam, I found not just a command, I found a purpose behind it. And that purpose always led back to one thing: making a human being the best version of themselves before they stand in front of God. So now I'm sitting there thinking, man, most of us live life backward. We try to impress the world and neglect the soul. We try to get validation from people who don't even care about us. We spend money we don't have to get things we don't need to impress people we don't like, then end up still unhappy with a closet full of shoes and a heart full of emptiness. But Islam comes in like, you ain't here to win the approval of people who gonna forget your name. You here to win the approval of the one who wrote your name before you were born. And when that hit me, it didn't just feel spiritual. It felt logical. It felt like the only thing that ever made real sense. Because I've lived long enough to know this. Most people are dying inside even while they're smiling outside. They got followers but no purpose. They got cars but no peace. They got success but no sleep. And when I started seeing how Islam treats the human heart, not just the body, not just the habits, but the heart, I said, oh, okay, now I get it. That's why they pray 5 times a day. Not because God needs the prayer, but because we need to reset. That's why they fast in Ramadan. Not because God needs people to starve, but because it trains you to stop being a slave to your desires. That's why they give charity. Not because the poor need handouts, but because the rich need humility. That's why they say salam when they greet each other, because peace is supposed to start on the tongue before it ever reaches the world. Everything is designed to build a certain type of human being, one that can walk through this messy, loud, tempting, painful world without losing their soul in the process. And let me tell you something that shocked me. Islam don't separate faith from daily life. We do. Islam don't say be good in the mosque and ruthless in the office. Islam don't say respect your mother but run game on women. Islam don't say worship God and then cheat on your taxes. Islam don't say love your neighbor and then crush them in business. Islam says if you're a believer, your belief better show up everywhere in how you talk, how you buy, how you sell, how you forgive, how you handle success, and how you handle loss. It ain't enough to say I love God. If the cashier, the waitress, the janitor, the Uber driver, the spouse, the child, the stranger can't see that love in your character. And that hit me hard because I know a whole lot of religious people who pray loud and live dirty. And Islam exposed something I didn't want to admit. Sometimes the reason people hate religion ain't because of religion. It's because of the people who claim it but don't live it. And that's when Islam hit me with something even heavier. In this way of life, the biggest thing you'll ever be judged on is the person you became. Not how many quotes you posted, not how holy you looked, not how many people you impressed, but who you were when nobody was watching, what you did when the money was in your hand and nobody could track it, what kind of human you were to people who had nothing to offer you. That's when I said, man, this right here is accountability on a level I ain't used to. Because in this world, you can fake everything. You can fake kindness, fake success, fake personality, fake religion, fake relationships, fake respect, fake happiness. But in Islam, the final judge sees straight through all that. And that makes you live different. That makes you act like every moment of your life is being recorded. Because in Islam, it literally is. And I don't know about you, but when I realized that, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time, clarity. Like somebody finally turned the lights on in a room I've been living in my whole life but never really saw. I said, okay, I get it now. Islam ain't here to give you a religion. It's here to give you a blueprint, a structure, a purpose, a moral compass, a filter, a destination. And once you got all that, life stops being random. You stop waking up asking, what am I even doing? Because now you know who made you, why you're here, what matters, what doesn't, what's temporary, what's eternal. And suddenly the noise of this world don't own you anymore. And let me tell you something, man, the more I sat with all this, the more I realized something that I wish somebody had told me 30 years ago. You can spend your whole life chasing the world and still leave it empty-handed. You can stack money, stack followers, stack success, stack applause, and still die with a heart that never found peace. And that's because peace don't come from possessions. It comes from alignment. When what you believe, what you live, what you speak, what you love, and what you chase are all going in the same direction. And that's what hit me about Islam. It don't just give you faith, it gives you alignment. It don't say believe in God and then figure the rest out by yourself. It hands you a whole map. Here's how you eat. Here's how you speak. Here's how you work. Here's how you treat people. Here's how you correct yourself. Here's how you handle heartbreak. Here's how you keep your dignity when life tries to break you. And when I saw that, I said, okay, now I understand why people say Islam is a way of life. Because it don't just get you ready for the afterlife. It makes you live this life like it actually means something. Because here's the truth, and I'm saying this from experience. You can't fix the world if you're still broken inside. You can't build a healthy relationship if your ego running the show. You can't raise kids with values if you ain't got any. You can't talk about justice when you lie on your taxes. You can't talk about peace if you start drama every chance you get. You can't talk about loving God while you're treating his creation like trash. A real way of life don't let you fake it. And that's what scared me and impressed me at the same time. Islam will force you to look at yourself. It don't let you hide behind I believe. It's going to ask, okay, but do you live it? And when you look at it that way, you start realizing something heavy. Most of us don't need more motivation. We don't need more speeches. We don't need more books. We don't need more podcasts telling us to be great. What we really need is a system, a structure, a moral anchor, a reason to stop ourselves from doing what we know is wrong, even when it feels right. A way to quiet the noise inside our own head. A way to wake up and say, I know who I am. I know who made me. I know what matters, and I know where I'm going. And I'm telling you, man, when I started reading Islam, not as a religion, but as a roadmap, I felt something close to envy. Because most people in this world are drowning in choices, drowning in confusion, drowning in expectations. But here's a faith that says, let me carry some of that weight for you. Here's how to live. Here's how to decide. Here's how to clean your heart. Here's how to win in this world and the next. And that's when I understood. It ain't that Muslims are strict. It's that they're protected. It ain't that they follow rules. It's that they follow wisdom. It ain't that they submit. It's that they surrender to something bigger than their own ego, bigger than society's trends, bigger than the desires that come and go like seasons. And once you surrender to something higher, you don't get weaker. You get grounded. And brother, let me tell you, we got a whole lot of people in this world right now who look successful but are spiritually homeless. And if you got to be honest with yourself, maybe you've been one of them. I know I have. So I'll end with this right here. If you ever wondered why Islam is spreading, why people from every race, every country, every background keep walking into it, it ain't just because they found a religion. It's because they found order in a world of chaos. They found purpose in a world of distraction. They found a way of life where you don't got to guess who you are or why you're here because God already told you. And the more I see it, the more I realize the people who are really winning in this world ain't the ones who can buy anything. It's the ones who finally found something money can't touch: clarity, discipline, purpose, and peace. And if you ever taste that, even for a moment, You'll never settle for the empty version of life again.